Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Learning Kitchen Live. My name is Valerie, and I'm so excited to have you back today. We have a super special guest with us today. I would like to introduce Emily Hayes. She is a registered dietitian nutritionist with Stop and Shop, and Stop and Shop is a really generous supporter of Learning Kitchen Live, and we're so happy to have Emily with us today. And she was able to pick out some wonderful recipes, which I'll talk about in a moment, but she's going to tell you a little bit more about Stop and Shop and their nutrition program.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Valerie, and thank you for having me here as your co-host for today's Learning Kitchen Live. And so as Valerie said, my name is Emily, and I am a registered dietitian with Stop and Shop Nutrition Partners. Now, for those of you that haven't heard of us before, I'm happy just to give a bit of an overview as to who we are and what we do. So we are Stop and Shop's team of registered dietitians, and we are here to help provide guidance for all things nutrition and food related to grocery shopping. So our team is happy to help provide assistance if you're looking for new nutritious meals to fit your family's busy schedule, or if you're just looking to find new products that fit your nutrition needs. So whatever you're looking for, we are here to help, and we do this through a variety of virtual services. So our dietitians all throughout the month are teaching virtual nutrition classes on a variety of different nutrition topics. We are also available for one-on-one consultations, and we have a wide library of educational resources available on our website. Everything from fun blog posts to short nutrition videos and some great informational handouts. So if you would like to learn more about us, you can head to our website, and that's stopandshop.com/nutrition.
So that's where someone would access all of these services.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wonderful.
So if you head there, you'll find all of our resources, and you can find ways to connect with us.
This is awesome, and I honestly didn't know that the dietitians at Stop and Shop did all of this. So I'm super excited to check it out, and I hope everyone watching will also check it out.
Great.
But like I said, Emily picked out two really delicious plant-based snack recipes that we're going to share with you today, and I really hope everyone watching will try these because they're great for like a dessert, a treat, a midday snack, a little energy boost. And I actually learned some stuff. I could have used your Nutrition Partners services because I learned some things about the ingredients we're using earlier that we'll share with you.
Yeah.
So the first recipe we're going to make is a chocolate chia seed pudding. And I eat chia seed pudding all the time, actually, thanks to one of my colleagues here who makes it all the time as well. And chia seed, for those of you who don't know, chia seeds are these, they're like little tiny, they almost look like big flecks of black pepper, but they're little seeds. And I actually, in doing some research about them, I learned that they are the seed of a flowering plant that is related to the mint plant. I never knew that before. But the thing that's really unique about chia seeds, aside from their nutrition composition, which I'll talk about in a moment, is that when you soak them in liquid, they get almost like a jelly-like consistency. So hopefully the camera is picking this up a little bit. These were soaked overnight, and I'll go through some of the steps in a moment. But chia seeds are these like amazing nutrition powerhouses. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds has about 140 calories and has 10 grams of fiber, and I think like 8 or 9 grams of protein. They're these little seedy powerhouses, and there's so many different ways you can use them. And they're just a great addition to your diet, I think. It's not something you have to eat regularly or every day, but they are like just full of great nutrition. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the recipe I'm making. And this recipe takes a little bit of planning ahead. Emily was kind enough to pull together most of this yesterday, so it had time to sit overnight. But what we have in this bowl is a half a cup of chia seeds, and this is meant to serve, I think, 4 to 6 people. So it's, this is not meant for one serving. Yeah. And 2 cups of unsweetened vanilla almond milk. So we have this here, and she's going to use it in her recipe as well. You could use any kind of milk, dairy or a dairy alternative that makes you happy. I always recommend going with the unsweetened version just because you don't need that extra sugar. There's going to be plenty of sweetness in this from, if you'd like to hand me the dates.
Yes.
from pitted dates. Dates are just a dried fruit, and there are 6 pitted dates, roughly chopped in here as well. And dates are wonderful when you're cooking and making desserts, especially. They are intensely sweet, so they have calories, but the sugar, it's all naturally occurring sugar, and they're really sweet. And when you taste this, you will never know that it's dates and not sugar providing the sweetness in here. And so that's what's in here. It's the almond milk, the chia seeds, and the dates. And this is sat overnight just to let the chia seeds give it this jelly consistency, but really a couple hours will do as well. So what I'm gonna do is put this mixture in a blender. You could use a blender or food processor. And we're going to blend this up and get it nice and smooth. And then just add a few more ingredients and this will be done. All right, I'm gonna just give it a stir because you wanna make sure you get all of the pieces of date nice and chopped. It actually looks pretty good. Give it one more blend. All right, so now this would actually be delicious to eat as is right now. And that's actually like a lot of chia seed pudding recipes you see online are generally some kind of milk or dairy alternative and chia seeds and maybe a little bit of sweetener. So this is good to go as it is, but we are gonna add some chocolate, some cocoa powder, and some vanilla, which is gonna give it a really lovely flavor. So what I have here is just unsweetened cocoa powder. And I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of that. And then I am going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And this is, I feel like the vanilla extract will definitely add some flavor, but if you don't have vanilla extract, don't worry about it. I think it would be fine without it as well. And you can use imitation or regular. This is pure vanilla extract. All right, we're gonna give this one more blend and then it will be done. There we go.
Nice.
All right, I'm just gonna stir it up a little bit more. Our blender is not cooperating as much as I would like it to right now. Actually, that looks pretty good. One more quick blend and it's gonna be done. There we go.
Nice.
All
I'm already smelling the chocolate.
I know, you
from
can
here.
smell the
Yeah.
cocoa powder. It smells so delicious. All right. That was super easy. And like I said, it takes a little planning ahead because you want those chia seeds to soak for at least a couple hours. But this is a great snack you can make. And honestly, like this is like a really rich chocolate pudding that has fiber and protein in it. Not a lot of sugar, really almost no sugar. And it's kind of healthy for you. And a great like energy pick-me-up late in the day or a dessert at the end of the day. So look at how pretty that is. This would be great, I think, with some like strawberries or raspberries on top of it too. So that is it. It's chocolate chia seed pudding. And we're gonna move on to our next recipe. I'm gonna help Emily get set up here, but she is going to make
Yes,
energy
we have
bites.
some energy cookie dough bites. So for any cookie dough fans out there, this recipe might be for you.
All right.
So this recipe, just like the chocolate chia seed pudding, is very simple to make, very straightforward. We're going to use a food processor. and essentially just throw all of the ingredients in there, blend them up, and then we're good to go. So again, very simple, can be prepared quick, prepared ahead of time. You could make these bites, store them in the fridge, and then easily have them for a snack the next day for a sweet treat.
Let me help you get this
thank you.
over. All right.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you, Valerie. So yes, next, like I said, we're gonna make these energy cookie dough bites. Now, for some of us, cookie dough might be one of our favorite go-to desserts, maybe eating it raw, which isn't always the best food safety wise, just since we'll usually find raw eggs in cookie dough, but you're in luck with this recipe because we don't actually have any eggs in this recipe. So you could eat it right out of the bowl if you wanted to. And we actually have a special secret hero ingredient in these cookie dough bites, and that is chickpeas. So chickpeas are actually going to make up the base for this cookie dough recipe, which is going to be wonderful because it will certainly add a bunch of nutrition to our base. So chickpeas are a great source of plant-based protein. You're gonna get some fiber and a little bit of iron, so definitely a nutrient-rich way to start our recipe here. So I've already drained and rinsed the chickpeas ahead of time to remove some of that liquid that it's been sitting in. But I actually saw on a previous Learning Kitchen Live that the liquid from chickpeas, the aquafaba, you used to make a meringue before.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's you can go back and search for that if you're intrigued by that, but the liquid that comes out of a can of chickpeas is called aquafaba, and you can do all sorts of fun things. It's like a vegan, like vegan egg whites, basically. So lots of fun. Yeah,
so look back if you wanted to make that. For today, we won't be using the liquid, so we did just drain and rinse them. So we'll throw 1 can of chickpeas here into our blender or our food processor. All right, the next thing that we're going to add in is some peanut butter. So again, gonna be another nutrient-rich addition to our cookie dough bites here. The peanut butter will provide us with some plant-based protein. We'll get a little bit of fiber as well. And if you had anyone at home with a nut allergy, you could certainly swap this out for like a sunflower butter. If you like almond butter or cashew butter better, you could certainly use that. And we're gonna use, let's see, 1/4 cup here of the peanut butter. So I'll just...
I love that both of these recipes can be very allergen friendly. So you can do a lot of different variations to make them friendly for anybody with any kind of allergies.
Absolutely. All right, so I'll get all that last drop of peanut butter in there. All right, now the next thing that we're adding in is milk. So today, just like Valerie used, we're gonna use the unsweetened almond milk. But again, you could use whatever milk you had on hand, if that was soy milk, regular milk, etc. We'll give this a little shake. And we'll do another 1/4 cup here for the milk. We'll put that in there. All right, the next ingredient that we'll be adding in are oats. So here I have some quick oats. Again, going to pack in some more nutrition to our bites here. Oatmeal is a whole grain, so we're gonna get some hearty fiber in there. And so I'll add another 1/4 cup here of our oats.
I also like that this recipe uses oats instead of something like flour, which when it's raw, a lot of people don't realize can be a risk for foodborne illness. So I love that it packs in the fiber and the nutrients, but is also safe.
Right, absolutely. Let's see. Okay, so we have all of those ingredients. The next thing we want to put in is some coconut oil. So now when it comes to oil, when we're talking about nutrition, what we want to look for most often is looking for those heart-healthy unsaturated fats and limiting saturated fat where we can. When it comes to coconut oil, this is an oil that's actually higher in those saturated fats. However, the small amount that we're using here in this recipe winds up being a pretty minimal amount per serving. But I will say at home, I did try out this recipe with canola oil and it came out just fine. So you could certainly use some swaps at home in your own kitchen. And let's see, we're doing 2 tablespoons here of the coconut oil.
Could someone use butter in this as well if they wanted to?
Yeah, I don't see why not. That could probably be another substitution there. All right, so I'll grab our 2 tablespoons. All right. The next thing that we'll add in are our chia seeds. And so as Valerie said, these are packed with nutrition. So if you happen to pick up a bag of these to make that chia seed pudding and you were looking for more ways to put it to use, you could try out this recipe. And so here we're using 2 teaspoons. So let's see, I'll open up here and we'll put 2 teaspoons in there. All right, the next thing is vanilla extract. Again, just to add a nice little bit of that vanilla flavor, help it taste more cookie dough-esque. So we'll drop in 2 teaspoons of the vanilla. All right, and then lastly, just a pinch of salt. You could omit the salt if you didn't want to use the salt in this recipe, but we'll just use a small pinch here. All right, and that is all of the ingredients we want in there for the time being. So I'm gonna put this lid on here and we want to process this until it becomes a nice even consistency and mixture. So let's see. Oh, actually, I did forget one ingredient, our dates. How could I forget about the dates for our sweetness?
I thought you were going to go back and put them in, but it
yeah,
works
I'll
just
do that
fine.
now. So dates, just like Valerie said, in the chia seed pudding recipe, they add that nice natural sweetness, but you're still getting that fiber since it's a fruit. And so we're going to add in, let's see, 8 dates here that are pitted. So do keep in mind you want to make sure that the dates are pitted so you don't bite into one of those hard seeds in the middle. That would be not ideal.
Be delicious.
Nope. So we're going to use 8 dates, and I did pit them ahead of time, but if you picked up just a container that had pits in them, all you do is you can easily just rip it open. You'll find this big pit on the inside, take that out, and just put that off to the side. And so we're going to use 8 dates. So I'll open this back up and throw those in there.
Some other things that you can do with chia seeds, if you bought a bag and you made pudding or you weren't really sure what to do with it, these are great to throw in smoothies if you like smoothies. You can actually sprinkle them on like a peanut butter sandwich if you wanted to add a little extra nutrition. So if you're making, or peanut butter on toast, you could sprinkle chia seeds on them. You could sprinkle them on avocado toast. Tons of things to do. They don't really have a strong flavor, so they're kind of neutral, but they add a little crunch and definitely add some extra nutrition.
All right, so let's see. Now that we have our dates in there, let's blend this up. All right, so again, I'm going to scrape down the sides a little bit just to make sure that we're getting those dates all blended in together. All right, so we'll take a look here. All right, and so it looks like our mixture is starting to come together. So we still can see some of those nice chunks of dates though, adding some sweetness in there. We can see the chia seeds, and we have our chickpeas are all nice and blended with the peanut butter and the oats. And so the next thing that we want to do is we'll put this mixture into a bowl here.
Let me clear this out of your way.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Valerie.
Sure.
And then we are going to spoon out this mixture here into our bowl, and then we're going to add in our chocolate chips. Now, I am a big chocolate fan, so I might be adding in a little bit more chocolate chips than the recipe calls for. But first, we'll get all this in here. All right. So once we got most of that mixture out here into this bowl, we'll add in our chocolate chips.
Do you need a knife to open
I might
that?
need, yeah.
Or why don't you?
Thank you.
If you ever do this at home, please be careful.
Yeah. Knife safety first.
Knife safety first.
Thank you. And I'll just eyeball how many chocolate chips we're throwing in there for today.
something I learned from Emily is that we were talking about making recipes vegan, and which means no animal products of any kind. And the store brand of the Nature's Promise chocolate chips are actually dairy-free. Like a lot of chocolate chips do have some dairy in them, like some of the more mainstream brands, but it was good to know that this brand is dairy-free.
Yeah, absolutely. I will know, I think for an allergen concern, if you do avoid dairy, they are probably made on the same in the same facilities as a milk allergy. But if for personal reasons you avoid dairy, these might be an option that'll work for you. So let's see, I've mixed in my chocolate chips here. It looks nice and chocolatey. And then the next step that we're going to do is just form the actual cookie dough bite. So you'll just grab a small handful and then just simply roll it into a small ball. Here we have a foil-lined tray that we're just gonna pop them onto. You might notice for this recipe, it does recommend popping them in the fridge for about 30 minutes just so they can, sort of their solid shape can form in the fridge for a little bit. But if you're a cookie dough fan, you could eat this right out of the bowl if you wanted. But so we'll just form these here. And you might be able to see, we actually did make some ahead of time and refrigerated them. So when your cookie dough bites are done, perfect. Yeah. That's what they should look like.
Could you freeze these?
You know, I bet that you could. That could be a way to save them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you made these ahead of time and popped them in the freezer, you could probably just defrost them as you needed to eat them, if they last that long.
And then that's it. Another simple, easy treat.
These are great, like if you get a mid-afternoon snack craving like many of us do, instead of going for more caffeine or candy or chips or something like that, these are super delicious. They're sweet, they feel like a treat, and yet they're really quite healthy. So we hope you'll definitely give them a try. And with that, I want to thank Emily for being here. This was a ton of fun. We always love having guests. And thank you to Stop and Shop, who are generous supporters of Learning Kitchen Live. And we hope you'll try the recipes. As always, links to the recipes will be in the chat section or in the comments section after we're done here today. And there will also be a link to a survey. We would love it if you would take it. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Wonderful, thank you.